This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Vader City Council. It is July 22nd, 2021, and the time is 6:01 p.m. Roll call.
Donna Rogers.
Here.
Jason Daly.
Here.
Randy Hall.
Here.
Mike Parsons.
Here.
Samantha Lovelady.
Here.
Mayor Shy.
Here. We are all in attendance. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor's report, wastewater treatment plant update. The dredging is nearly complete. I think we talked about it at the last meeting. There's a lot more material to remove than the engineers had calculated. I guess it's hard to calculate volume under the water and depth and all this stuff. So anyway, no worries. The Fire Mountain Farms that's taking all of the biosolids is more than willing to take the rest of it. So as you see in the trucks driving through town, but of course that will come at increased cost to the city to remove these extra biosolids. So a change order will be happening. Once again, we've got enough funding to cover that, so not a problem. And they have been driving the pilings for the headworks.
That's the noise.
Probably hear the noise. So that's what that is. I think that's what we're hearing right now. No, it's lawnmower.
That's a lawnmower.
Public hearing on August 19th. The planning committee is going to have a public hearing regarding permanent regulations related to the manufactured homes. Worden Park, the RCO grant contract was approved this week. So we can go ahead and get rolling on our project. In advance to that, in preparation for that, obviously we had gotten the cultural resources survey done already. RCO had routed that to the proper authorities to do whatever they do with it. And also we have solicited bids. Originally, we did kind of a selection of 10, a dozen contractors per section of the project. We got virtually no response whatever, very similar to the jail foundation bids. And so we broadened our search. We ran a full report on the MRSC rosters, and we shot it off to 200 contractors for fencing, 200 contractors for concrete work, and 200 contractors for the street work, thinking that if we get 1 in 20 response, maybe we could get 20 or 40 bids. So far, so good. We are seeing bids coming in, and they are a little hot. They are higher than expected because obviously our estimates were done last year. Things are very different in the construction world compared to last year. So you know, our fencing has come in at double the price. The parking 25% increase, things like that. However, I'm not going to steal the park board chairman's thunder here and say any more, but there is good news. So anyway, more on the RCO project later on in the meeting. TIP grant, chip seal. The county should be out here to do the grant funded work sometime in August. For chip seal, they're going to do roughly 1/6 of all the streets in town, all grant funded. And we did submit a new grant for next summer to do work on other streets that haven't been touched in a while too. Lastly, if you remember a couple meetings ago, I presented to council proposition for federal grants related to street and stormwater work. And so council seemed to think that those were favorable. And so we filled those grants out as well. 1.25 million for stormwater repairs around the city, 1.5 million for paving, re-asphalting everything in the city, and 5.4 million on new road construction on unused right-of-ways. And those are the same sections that were presented to council a while back. So fingers crossed. If we get something great, if we don't, well, at least we tried. So Biden's handing out money, we'll take a little bit. Anything else on the mayor's report? Seems like there was a couple other things that came up.
You're going to say something about Worden Park.
Yeah, that'll come up. The park board's gonna give a presentation a little bit. They'll talk more about Worden Park. Worden Park, the bad news, the vandalism. You're right, yeah, there was more vandalism. That's what Jason mentioned before the meeting started. We're gonna make getting other cameras there. The cameras that exist there, they aren't very good. The cameras that are down at Worden Park right now. So we're gonna upgrade those, probably get the same kind of cameras that are at McMurphy, and you'll be able to identify anybody that's down there day or night by the time we're done. So we won't have to rely on the church anymore to help us out from across the road. What else? Urban design standards. Just today, as you're aware, we had used the money that we were going to budget for the urban design standards on the tractor purchase. And that grant just came in. We are approved $20,000 to update all of our urban design standards, all 5 chapters. And so we're working on working with the EDC, the Lewis County Economic Development Commission, and Lewis County on that. It's kind of a joint partnership, this grant. But we'll be able to get all those updated at no cost. So got it done. That's enough. Council reports.
I guess this is a report. The attorney bill. Passed out on that one. This is really ugly.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't bring it up.
I know. Well, I haven't brought these up in a long time, and my next plan is to go back and add up the total for the year and see where we're at. But this one is 5,160. And it was 8,000. Why is that crossed out? You know, I mean,
Yeah,
the
that money that we're not paying yet has to do with the Lewis County franchise, and they will actually be paying.
Part of the franchise agreement with Lewis County for the water is that
Okay.
they will pay all of our attorney's costs, which is why that's not applicable. I
Okay.
mean, it's money that will pass through us, but it's going to come back to us in the franchise agreement.
So there is a big amount of money here spent on the fee schedule. I mean, $360, $280. What is so hard about, why do we need an attorney's advice to do a fee schedule? Because she's on the phone with this attorney. I mean, who does that? I mean,
Everybody does it.
not
All the
through an
cities,
attorney.
all the
If
counties,
you'd like,
yeah,
No, you do a
Yes, they
fee
do.
schedule, but you don't need an attorney to do it.
yes, they do.
if
a
you like,
legal issue.
I can get the details for you on that.
Yeah.
Why it was important. I don't
It's a
have it
legal
off the top of
issue,
my
it has
head.
to
This
be-
much money,
It's smart to have it approved by an attorney. It's not that much money compared to other places. You're wrong.
well, thank you for that.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
I just wanted to point it out,
I
how
still
wrong
want to
you
know
are about.
why it's this high.
Let me take a note of that. I'll get the note to you about why the attorney was consulted on that.
Yeah, and why is everybody and their uncle talking to our attorney? You know, when I became a council member, they give you all this book, you know, what the mayor's responsibility are, council members' responsibility, and some of the things that are supposed to happen. And it says in there, and it's very, you know, strong worded, that the mayor should be the one that's consulting with the attorney. But everybody and their uncle talks to our attorney. And then they charge us for talking to the attorney. So, you guys need to do something about this.
Some of those projects do go through me, and then that they're able to work with the attorney to get the project done without having to use me as a middleman. That only makes sense.
Well, you know, Gary Cooper, I don't know why he needs to speak with our attorney. And the other guys, don't they have their own attorneys? Don't they know the law, what they're supposed to be doing? Why do we have to furnish them with an attorney? I don't know, but this is not good. I just, you know, I do have issues with the attorney fees, so everybody knows that, and I will continue to have them,
Cindy, you had a question?
but
The lawsuit's gonna be settled now, so that's gonna go down, right?
there isn't that much about the lawsuit in this bill.
It'll go down once that's settled.
Well, if there was no lawsuit, then You're right, yes, obviously. And a lot of the lawsuit is being handled by the insurance company, which we do not have to pay for. So a lot of the fees we don't even see, like the insurance company is just handling them.
So is this one here, and a lawsuit thing, the 1880? Because that's what we're being charged, for litigation.
I don't have, do I have that?
I don't think, maybe not, but.
There's a lot of them are memorized, I don't have that.
So we're
Yeah.
eating that because this attorney is also involved, and she keeps an involvement going, and I thought our AWC insurance
Is there a
was
date,
probably-
is there a date on that?
I think this is just to cover the
Okay.
list, whatever, but I'm not sure where that one is.
There was a mitigation hearing and the attorney
Right.
was present for the entire thing, so you can imagine that was expensive.
I know, but if these other people are handling it, why does she need to be involved?
She's our,
Was she just there hanging out and we get to pay her? for
she's
that?
our foremost expert on the issue because she's been handling it since the beginning.
Well, if they turned it over to another attorney, I don't see why we have to pay her to sit in on it. I mean, they can write her a report, can't they?
Didn't it settle? I thought it was settled.
Well, I don't know.
I can't talk about it. I wish I could talk about it.
You don't have to tell me details, though. You can't just tell people who are paying that bill, if it's settled, then we can stop paying.
No, it's not. It's not done. Okay, it's not done.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Hope
done
you
with my
understand.
report. Y'all happy with those numbers?
So why is everybody mad at us for those numbers?
Oh, come on, I'm gonna.
No, no, no. Well, you're always mad at me. But why are you mad at us for those numbers when we're just defending? When somebody brings a lawsuit on you, you defend.
Right.
So otherwise we just say, oh, here's 50, here's 60, here's 70, whatever. No, we have an attorney, we're fighting it. And what I think, the only thing we're doing wrong is we're not fighting enough. We need to start hitting every single dime and get all of this money back, because you're right, it's costing all the city money, but there's only one person that started it.
No, that's not true. It takes 2 to 5.
No, it doesn't. There takes one person to write a violation. It gets another person to throw a fit about it and say, that's it, I'm gonna sue you. That's what happens. It happens all the time.
It's gotta be a righteous fund, that's one thing. And the other thing is, Joe, I was here when you said that, when you handed it over to I was actually really happy about it, when you said, I'm handing it over to an insurance company, it's not gonna cost us any more money. That's not true. It is costing us more money.
It has, you're right.
And I've been in lawsuits before, one with the city, and I didn't start it. I'm not the one that.
You didn't file a lawsuit against the city.
I did start a legal action against the city and
Okay,
it settled.
so you started it.
No, the city clerk walked on my property and stared in my back window and I had a fence down.
Okay, so did you talk to her? Did you talk to the mayor? No, you started a lawsuit.
No, I came down and I
It's-
talked to the mayor and he said she has every right to come on your property. You both were sitting right there when I brought it up. And he defended her and the clerk defended her and the attorney had to get involved. That's what happens, Mike. Sometimes when you're defending property rights, just like with me, I don't want people on my property looking at my windows. I don't care if you're God. I don't want you looking at my windows. And that's what she was caught doing. And so sometimes these things happen. You people were on the city council at the time when I brought it up. Sometimes when you defend your property rights, this is what happens. And regardless of what else is happening, it takes 2. It always takes 2 to 5. You and I argue all the time, right? But it takes both of us. I could always say, okay, Mike, I'm good. I don't ever do that. And you don't ever do that. So it does take 2. This could be settled and done and over with. And that's what I'm saying.
But what I think is funny is it's our fault.
No, I think it's his fault.
Everybody always says, look at these attorney fees, they're ridiculous.
They are.
Why don't they say, they might be,
They are.
but you know how much less the attorney fees are if we win this?
Well,
What is the point of winning it? Over a roof? Are you serious? No, this is over, somebody bought a house out from underneath one of you on this thing, and that's how this
Okay.
all got started.
Let me call BS on that.
Go ahead.
Let's bring it down a level.
BS,
We can have this-
because That's ridiculous.
No.
I didn't want the house. Randy, did you want the house?
I didn't even know it
Jason,
was
did
there.
you want the house?
No.
There isn't one person on the city council that wanted that house.
Would you like to go back and listen probably?
Bullshit.
There was recordings here, and you and Jason have both, on more than one occasion, made a statement that we are taking that house and we're gonna sell it.
And you know what? That house, that was the plan that even the owner of the house agreed with.
Well, apparently not.
Really?
Yes,
How did you get hold of the owner of the house?
she wasn't the owner of the house when she was in the city council meeting.
Oh, okay, who are we, who are we talking about?
Okay.
All right, hold on, folks.
I think we need, I'm gonna
This
call
is-
this.
This is a timeout.
This is going a little too far.
I think we need to be control of this little
I
conversation.
appreciate both sides of the argument. And I think everyone's made their point, I really do. We are in council reports right now. And so Ms. Rogers made a report about the attorney's fees. I think you made your point.
I did? I
Are
hope.
are there any other council reports?
The only thing that I want to say is our 8th Street that we went into with, I think Winlock or Toledo, to clear the 8th Street back to West Side Highway
What?
Last year,
last year. Yeah,
when they came in and, was it the county or was it the other city?
and we paid, what, 8 hours or 10 hours for them to cut back the side of the road on
Is it
8th
right?
It
Street.
was
to Brush.
Toledo, wasn't it?
I'm not sure who it was.
Toledo that helped.
I'm just reporting that it's
Yeah.
back to the road.
Winlock.
You know, we're trying to,
Yeah. The jungle was bad.
the jungle is back. It's not treeage, it's just, blackberry briars.
Blackberry, yeah.
That was,
John's gonna try his new tractor out.
yeah, I was just talking to Donna about this earlier today, that the new tractor is supposed to show up here in August, and then we'll get the attachment on there and be able to run it through there.
Hmm.
Take care of a lot of that. It's on the hit list.
Okay,
Other council reports? Okay, hearing none, moving on to agenda approval. If you notice, the agenda that was posted last night, the voucher amounts are different than the note that you have in front of you. That's because the community development block grant funds for the Roglins payment that you all approved last meeting came in. Now, the way that works is that council approves the expenditure. It moves to the federal folks to send us the money. So we say, here's the invoice for $500,000. They send us the money, and once we get the money, then we can cut a check to Roglins. So that's why there was change. The money just came in today, and we'd rather not wait to pay Roglins for 3 weeks until the next council meeting. Like I said, you guys have all already seen the invoice for that. So
these are the true numbers,
correct, yeah,
not those ones.
right. So that was so I would ask that for anyone that approves the agenda, that you also include the fact that we're going to approve the agenda with the updated total for the vouchers, because it is such a large amount.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda for July 22nd, 2021, including the new voucher approval numbers.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve the agenda as written with the change to the voucher totals. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes approval.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the city council meeting of 7/8/2021.
We have a motion by Mr. Daly to approve the city council minutes from July 8th, 2021. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Voucher approval. Reminder, that the vouchers have been updated with that Roslyn's invoice.
Make a motion to approve the vouchers for the end of July 2021 at $536,821.63 for a total July 2021 of $605,128.68.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve the vouchers with the updated totals. Do we have a second?
The second.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Special reports. Planning Committee, they are unable to attend. Their last meeting, their entire agenda was for the variance request for the setback change. That was their entire agenda. And of course, City Council heard about that at our meeting following that. So that is the Planning Committee report. However, the Park Board, they've got a lot to talk about. So Ms. Shai, are you online?
Yes, I am.
All right, let me share the screen with you so you can do your
Well,
thing.
Well, I have a few other things before we get to that too, just real quick. The first thing is regarding, it's already kind of been touch base on, but regarding cameras at Worden Park. Ironically, before last night's events, at our meeting last night, we actually had been talking about doing camera upgrades. So last night, ironically, kind of gave us, just really reinforced the need for those newer cameras there. And just so you know, cameras and lighting are something that's on our list to apply over there for sure. Also real quick, kind of a little summary. I know you've all probably already heard that our chipping event that we had was really awesome. And it was so good, in fact, that Melanie Case had actually, from Lewis County Public Works and Solid Waste, had gotten a hold of us a while back and added in about our chipping event to a list of potential grant services for special events. And then we just recently, actually this week or last week, just got a letter inviting us to join in from, it's the Lewis County Department of Public Works and Solid Waste Utility with the Department of Ecology have special grant funding that is available. And we've been invited, in addition to wood, continuing maybe another wood chipping event, to provide, in conjunction with Lewis County, a few other services that the Park Board was really excited to add to their calendar. There was yard waste collection, sensitive document shredding, scrap metal and appliance recycling, tire recycling, and mattress recycling. Specifically, our board members were really interested in doing the yard waste, sensitive document, and scrap metal or appliance recycling. And we're considering, depending on how the county wants to work out with picking a date, possibly even tossing in the tire recycling event. And from what we understand from the letter that they sent out to us, it's they will give us the supplies needed, and we would need the volunteers to help run the event. So once we know more, we'll put in our application and selection of dates. And once we know more and get approved for it, then we're going to be advertising to get community involvement, not in just donating, but in helping run the events. Was there any questions about that? No? Okay.
Nope.
All right. So yeah, going over to Worden Park then, our exciting news is that this morning I had an interview with the Cheney Grant Foundation, and they are going to give us the $15,000 that we applied for the grant to go towards Worden Park. So really, I wasn't even a half a cup of coffee into it when they told us that. So that really was an awesome boost and energy energy provider for the day for me. it's going to be a great addition to helping us with those cost increases and everything and help keep us on track with where we're at. So, and we will have, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, we will have the contract and all the terms and everything sent out to us and have the application approval finalized by then. So
We
there
have
is
one
that.
question. We
Oh,
have
go
one
ahead.
question from
Yes.
Ms. Radcliffe.
Ms. Shy, that $50,000, is that just for the, playground equipment, or is that just for any part of the park? Can any of it be used for the jail or the covered area or cameras or whatever?
Yeah, so this specific part of it was the 15,000 is meant for the playground and the new pavilion. We do have other grants that have been put out for the jail itself that we're waiting on. In fact, I think there was a $50,000 T-Mobile grant that we had submitted in, and we're waiting to hear some kind of status on, hopefully in the next month or two, that would go specifically just to the jail.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, I wanted to give you a little, oh, was there something else?
We have one more question from Ms. Rogers.
Oh, yes.
Kelly, do we have to have matching funds for that grant?
No, for the Cheney Grant Foundation, we do not have to have matching funds,
Okay.
which is even better. Uh-huh. Yeah, and when we talked to the when we talked with the board today, they actually said that they were surprised because to even hear from us, because it's the first time in over 35 years of them offering this grant opportunity that they have ever received any kind of request from Vader. So it's a first for them to give us any kind of award. It's also a first from RCO to give us an award. So it's really kind of cool. I don't know. I'm excited about it. Okay, so I just wanted to share with everybody the update, just kind of a review, I guess, a recap on what it is that we have going on. Do I have control over the mouse?
I hope so.
I don't.
I'm not doing
Okay.
that.
Oh, my controls are not showing up. So, just to review, I don't even have the, sorry, I'm trying to find my
Your
controllers
controls are
here.
there.
I can't even see it.
Can't see the little blue bar on the bottom?
No, it's gone.
Hover the mouse over the presentation again, and then it looks like the controls show up when you do that.
Nope.
Shrink it down.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, make it smaller.
Okay.
Well, just tell me when to click ahead.
Okay. Whoa. Now we have like everything. Oh, there it is. Okay. So obviously Warden Park. It's where we're at right now and how we're looking. Or I'm sorry. This was working earlier.
Press the space bar.
It zooms in and out when I press the space bar.
Hit the space bar. All right, no control for you. I'm taking it back. It
All right,
worked.
next
It-
slide
it-
then, please.
It worked in testing.
It did. This was just kind of this was an image that we used in our RCO grant presentation, giving an idea of the closest local parks and the type of parks that we had available to us. So Mamie Shattuck up in Napavine was actually another park that I believe they ranked 13, and they were awarded some money as well from RCO this year. Penny Playground is on that list. They've received past RCO funds. Obviously, that's about a 30-minute drive from us. So the whole point of this map was to really show how far we had to go in order to show what kind of services we could receive for playground experience. Next slide. And a refresher of the current facilities at Worden Park. We have our swings, our pavilion, our kiosks, the bathroom, and the parking, the remainder of the parking that's unfinished. So this was the project design or the overall vision for the park. If you look at the map over here, the purple area is the area that we are hoping to have, the area that we would like to have repaved, and the teal line that goes down to the sidewalk from the existing ramp, teal, not blue, along the parking lot. That would be part of the the curb that would tie back into the already existing bioswale to help with that flooding that we have happening in that area. And then in what we would be adding a whole looped walking path that would allow, there would be ramps to go from the new parking area alongside of the jail, and that would allow more access for everybody. The new parking would actually also tie in and make it a better access, that we would be repairing that access as well. So we'd have 2 new access points into the park. And the whole idea with the looped walking path is that it allows for you to have visibility of the playground if you decide that you want to do a walk around while your kids or grandkids, family, they're playing at the park. You can do a little bit of a walking exercise and stuff as well. So, and then the little brown buildings, the little brown squares, are the new areas that we would also be adding in tables. The smaller 2 are our shade table coverings with ADA wheelchair access points. And then the big one in the middle is the central pavilion that would add another option for family gatherings, parties, picnics with more direct view of the playground area. Next. These images just kind of show a little bit of the current drainage issues that we've had, how we get the pooling and flooding over in the gravel area. And along the side and back of the current existing pavilion, how there's that drop off. It's a pretty decent step down. It's actually worse on the back side of that where the laser pointer is. So our hope is to have a point that will transition over that has more of a nice flow ramp tie-in to that as well. Next. So the goals: community park, providing quality local safe space and outdoor activities for our youth and adults of Vader. Our components from what I've just talked about with you is that we'd have playground equipment, walkways, shaded ADA tables, safety fencing and park signage, another picnic shelter, ADA parking, and an access ramp, in addition to taking care of our parking drainage.
We have a question from Ms. Ratcliffe.
Yes.
What kind of maintenance is this gonna require? I mean, you still only have one dog or person. So.
Maintenance, well, the playground structures are fairly maintenance free for the most part. I mean, it just depends on the wear and tear, obviously. The concrete is no more than what John, for example, already has to do. And we're actually getting rid of a lot, because there will be reduced grass areas. He actually will have less to have to do over there. And we will be adding more chip, but it's not more for, well, last year when we calculated it, it didn't add a whole lot more to any of our costs or anything of what we were already maintaining with the life expectancy of that. I don't know if that really.
How about lawn sprinklers?
We are not adding in any additional lawn watering systems at this time.
We have another question, go ahead.
So how wide is the walking path?
Well, I'm actually going to get to that, but the walking path is going to be between 4 to 5 feet wide.
Okay. I just want to make sure it could accommodate a wheelchair.
Yes, and
the
that's
bids-
something that the bids are keeping in mind as well too.
Okay.
Yeah. So the playground, this is our tower structure. It would have 3 12-foot slides. It's designed for, they say, approximately ages 5 to 12. It can actually accommodate older. We have multiple climbing options. We have, and including there's the Geoplex net climbing option, along with, you can see we have monkey bars, and we have looped ladders that are on the back side of this image. So this is, and we got a roof on it. So this is the playground, the tower structure that we'd have. Next.
We have a question from Ms. Costello.
Yes.
What type of insurance is it required? Because obviously we don't have that type of structure down there now. Does our insurance go up to cover all of the new falling and jumping and running?
It'll definitely have to be included in our asset plan. And so when we do that, there will be an increase to our insurance, but it's through AWC. So, they cover playgrounds for all the cities. So won't be a problem.
So our next one. So we also have a train theme structure, and this is designed for more of the littles. It's ages 2 to 5 approximately. This structure was actually designed by with keeping in mind the Vader's railway influence for our town's name, and we've also getting BNSF funds to go towards this project. And this is, I believe, the second time that we've been able to get a grant in regards to this property over the years as well. It's kind of a little nice nod to our history and to the BNSF for helping us with our projects. So, and you can pretty much see almost everything on here except for the fireman pole that's on the backhand side of the train structure. There's monkey bars and twirly poles and double slides, all kinds of fun little bits. We will still have a swing set, and we will have the 6 simultaneous swings. So unfortunately, we were not able to add a mix when ordering on where the toddler swing was, because originally we were going to do 2 different types of swings in there, but the rules don't allow us to do that when ordering. But still, we have, there's the 6 swings there. We have a stand-up seesaw that was designed for ages 5 to 12. It allows you, just like a sitting seesaw, allows 2 simultaneous users. And then we also will have what's called a curva spinner, and it's kind of like a 1 or 2 person merry-go-round. Next. This is a zoom in of the playground area and approximately where those pieces will be going. Next. And then touching base, we've already kind of talked about this with the walking path and shelter pads. We have the looped walking path. It's going to be about 768 feet of 4 to 5 foot concrete walking path. We're going to add the 120 by 20 central concrete shelter pad, and then the 2 7x7 picnic shelter pads. Next.
Okay.
I have that later.
Okay.
There's and this is similar we haven't solidified the design for the central shelter yet. We're still looking for some companies and designs, and we're getting prices. We really, what we can get is going to depend on the funds available to us once we've had the bids signed with us. But something along the lines or similar to this in the center, where we'd be able to put picnic tables. Yeah, where do we be able to put picnic tables under? And then this is an example of the shaded tables with the wheelchair access. You see they don't have the fourth seat down below there, where you can go ahead and put where you can sit with wheelchair. And they would be in the two corners that pointed up there on the map from the in regards to where the playground location is. Safety fencing, this is a border establishing fencing. It will help reduce especially along the ditch side there, which was something in our survey that we had done last year that people had made comments about. It is black coated, at least 25-year warranty from the one company I talked to last year. It's 385 feet of 4-foot tall fencing, and in the back area up here is where John accesses it with any lawn mowing equipment that he's had. And so that would actually be pretty much an open public gate that would be there as well. And depending on the design options from the contractor, we've heard anywhere from one 12-inch gate to 6 feet. I said 12 inches, sorry, 12 feet to 6 feet gates. We'll find out how that goes here soon. And then with the area that we're excavating, it's going to be excavated down to a depth of at least 12 inches. It will be filled with certified cedar playground chip, compacted, and we will also have a minimum of 2 inches of drain rock along with the fabric liner.
Oh, we have a couple questions. Ms. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Flagpole staying? I don't see it on the thing. Or is it coming down and form myself?
I'm
Could you hear
sorry,
that?
I could.
She
No,
was
I
asking
couldn't hear.
What was happening with the flagpole?
The flagpole was staying. As far as I'm aware, that really determines, or I really don't know how the engineers are going to come through, how far up they wanted to, but the plan was for the flagpole to be able to stay in place as much as possible. That's my personal preference.
Yeah, the curb, the new curb that's going to be installed there in front of the jail, all the landscaping that's there is still going to be there. The curb's going to just extend along there. All the landscaping is going to stay the same, and the flagpole is part of that. So a second question from the back.
I've never been to one of these meetings, and I don't know how they work. But all the stuff that everybody's been talking about on this park, I don't see anything for teenagers. I don't see anything, nothing for children. Yeah.
Well, you're correct. I mean, the tower structures are rated for up to 12 years old.
Right.
But they're big enough.
For adults.
We could get on there and play. But and then of course the swings themselves are rated for all ages, so the swings are there. But
And then there's a basketball court right in the middle also.
Yeah, we are still keeping the basketball court as well.
Okay, well that's good.
And part of the thought with having the swings are actually going to be, if you're looking at that photo there, underneath where the basketball court is, and it's going to be horizontal lengthwise with the basketball court. So if folks are playing basketball, kids can sit on the swings either direction facing the playground or facing the basketball court. It's kind of like a seating area. So they could sit on the swings and watch the basketball game going on and stuff too.
And I can understand that too, but I watch
watched the posts that are on Facebook, the 3 different pages that are up for Vader. And I see a lot of things being said about teenagers that get into trouble down here. They may not have parents that watch over them, but we as a community should step up where their parents have stepped up. Now, I think. In order for us to have a good community, we need to help guide them. We don't give them things other to do than break windows and steal from other people's backyard, you know what I mean?
What are the thoughts with this? Obviously, right now, we don't have anything, so we had to start someplace, right? So we needed something. In that area on the top above the basketball court there, that's currently where the the existing swing sets is. That's going to be removed. One of the neat things that park board saw when they were looking at this, there's equipment for older kids and adults as well. And it's like, what do they call it?
It's almost like an obstacle course. It's a physical fitness obstacle course where they have rock wall climbing and they can do all kinds of really exciting things. That's definitely more to that.
Yeah, so there are options out there, but you know, with this grant, I mean, there was only so much money, and so we had to start someplace. But there are some options in the future where there is room to expand and then have something else there.
When I was younger and healthier, me and a bunch of friends and stuff, we would go get pickup games, you know, on the ball field. We don't have one of those here. Of course, we can't do
It looks
that.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful.
I think it'd be nice to think about.
Yeah,
Maybe not this year, but
Yeah.
in years to come.
Yeah, and that the older ages did not get overlooked in the considerations, but you know, it started someplace, and this is where we're at. So I have a feeling that that's going to be something else is coming later on, but you know, gotta start someplace. Another question from Ms. Rogers.
So you said
Yes.
something ball field?
Yeah.
So my question about, because there's not enough room at Urban Park for a ball field, but if the school district has offered their property for everybody to play on, would they, I'm wondering if we could get them to let the kids have a ball field over.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
They used to have a nice one over there, but they took the backstop out and all of that. So I don't know where it went.
It's
but-
still there.
Oh, is it
Yep.
still there?
It wouldn't be much
And-
to go in with a tractor and mow it.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
and regarding the ball field too, I know that John has the baseball base or the field bases that were donated to the city from the American Legion post in Winlock quite a few years back. And then I actually had somebody talk to me last year about it, and Castle Rock was interested in actually getting a youth ball field put out in those fields. But what they needed from us was they needed our updated parks master plan. And at the point in time that they needed to be able to turn in their grant on time, we hadn't had the master plan yet. It was about, I think it was 2 months later or something like that, that our master plan had been approved. So I know that there was real strong interest from Castle Rock to support a youth baseball field.
Well, that would be good. But the older
Yeah.
kids don't have anything to do.
They get that pride in their community, they're less likely to mess it up.
That was my question.
Okay. So this is kind of just a recap. We've seen all of this. It's a little bit better view of about where the fence would be going. We have in the little red line on the bottom corner there is where what it looks small on the map, but the actual new sign that says Worden Memorial Park, JK Worden Memorial Park, is that's going to be facing at a diagonal where you would actually be able to see it down A Street from the highway. So that was a big element that a lot of folks wanted to see as well. And I have a sample image of that in here. And this was just a a recap again, the new asphalt would be approximately 110 feet by 21 feet, and it would give us roughly about 12 new parking spaces. And then we've already talked about the integration of the asphalt to the existing concrete pavilion access ramp and the new full-length gutter and curb for storm water drainage. Next. The welcome sign. This was a sample that we just kind of put together, but it's definitely nowhere near what we're actually, well, we don't know exactly what we're going to have here yet. We're looking for a couple of different companies and find out what they have to offer in addition to what our pricing availability will be. So. And then this was just a sample of things that we had, items of consideration, you know, designed with low maintenance in mind, easy access for lawn mowing to save time for John. It's encouraging and supporting our current economic growth. You know, for what we have for Vader, we have a lot of we've had for us a lot of homes coming into town and new younger families. So it gives our current families and our new families a place to go. And yeah, and then the enhanced community health aspects.
We have another question.
And this was, oh, yes.
So Kelly, like I say, I'm not a park person, but I want everybody else to enjoy it. Are there any like little barbecue things or something that is around the pavilion there now?
Yeah, we actually do. The park board, before I had joined, they had actually put in several barbecue pits. And I think there is one at Worden Park, and then there's 2 or 3 that I can remember off the top of my head at McMurphy Park.
Oh.
Yeah.
The stand-up ones on a pole, and so you can stand there.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Point. I thought about this for a while. At some point, would there be a way under the pavilion that there's now, because I've seen these in other parks, where they put in a large, like barbecue thing that's permanent in brick, you know, and you can use the briquettes and things like that with the grill on top?
If so, I have a hard time. I personally haven't thought of that over at Worden Park. I could totally see something like that built into a really cool pavilion at McMurphy Park. But it's definitely something worth looking into if there's that interest. Yeah.
Okay.
Was there any other questions?
Just a thought. I'm not.
No. Oh, no, totally. Hey, you know how it is. Write them down. Tell me. I always write it down and we always talk about it. So, and then we try to figure it out. So.
I have another question for Ms. Radcliffe.
Yes.
I don't know if the park board takes care of it, but who takes care of the city sign coming into town? It looks like someone took back to it.
So if I remember the story correctly, Mr. Gall, he's was in Winlock, now he's a teacher in Toledo. He made those as part of a school project, and they were donated to the city, and they're not really maintained by anybody.
Is he still alive? Because
He is, yeah, Mr. Gall is still around, yeah. And his son, Mason Gall, is on the planning committee.
And he lives across the street from the sign.
Was that the barn? Oh, well, someone is damaged. So-
Yeah, it's been noticed. I'm not sure exactly how that works. I mean, I think they're on right of way, so there are signs. But obviously there's been no maintenance to them. It's been noticed. One of the things.
Because I'm familiar with Mr. Gall. He was my teacher in high school, and one of our children's teachers as well. And I had actually sent him a message about the signs, but I hadn't heard anything back. So we were going to try to reach out to Mason to see if there was a way he can put us in touch, just to find out if Ron Gall was able or even interested in helping us with either repairing or doing an updated design or the same just refresh it, repair it somehow. So Parks is, we actually talked about that last month.
Okay.
So, and we're almost done here. So this was our, everyone was here when, thankfully, thank you so much for helping get our Park and Recreation Master Plan finally updated and approved so that we were able to get this, to get a project and to even try to get funds for a project. So, and next, your laser pointer. And this was a sample of some of the survey results that we had. The full survey is actually in the back of the Parks Master Plan. So if anybody who had missed that last year wanted to see those results, they're in there in the appendix. It goes into full detail. It's everything, how many people answered, what questions for McMurphy, what questions for Worden. These were just some snippets that were pulled out that helped with the direction and guidance of what it is that we'd like to see at Worden. And that's everything. Were there any other questions?
I just want to thank you for your diligence and your hard work on this. It's obvious you have the city in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. And actually, I want to thank everybody, because if it wasn't the city council, our park board, and the community involvement that we've been able to get, we really wouldn't have been in support. We really would not have been able to get this far. So that is really exciting and very, very much appreciated.
Well, I don't think it could have happened without your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Okay. Thank you for that report. Moving on to city business. Item number 1, public hearing on ordinance extending ordinance. Public hearing on an ordinance extending ordinance 2021-02, which imposed an interim official control regarding the design and placement of manufactured homes. So as everyone's been aware, we've had 6-month increments for that temporary ordinance. We last extended it in February. Here we are in July. We need to extend it one more time. This will be the last time. The planning committee has the final, what will be the final ordinance. They've been talking about it. They have, and it was announced at the beginning of the meeting, that they have a public hearing on the final ordinance. And then after the public hearing, then it can come to city council. But in the meantime, we need to extend the temporary ordinance one more time. Ms. Radcliffe.
Do they have a copy of the draft of what they're working on? Or
You can ask for it. We can get that for you. I don't have it in front of me, but
is it online? Are you talking about the ordinance?
it'll be the final one that planning committee is working on. We have a copy of it. It's just I don't know.
Online, and it says proposed. And I think there may even be a copy of what you have in. It would be 05. Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we,
It won't be 05.
I'll make a motion that we extend the ordinance.
Open a public hearing. We need to hold a public hearing first
Oh,
for a determined amount of time that you will set in your motion.
I will make a motion that we open a public hearing for 10 minutes or less.
You have a motion by Mr. Parsons to open the public hearing on the extension of the interim official control regarding manufactured homes. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. This public hearing is open at 7:00 p.m. to hear testimony from the public on the interim official control regarding the design and placement of manufactured homes.
Can we have a piece of paper about it? Because
She said it was on 4, sorry.
okay, well, yeah.
So this is the same one that we've done public hearings for twice before.
Are
So,
we only commenting on you extending the moratorium? Or
Correct.
not on the actual?
right, not the new one.
Not the actual
This is
property?
just the extension
Okay.
of the current one that we've had for a year now.
Does this stop anybody from putting in, this moratorium stop them from putting in a manufactured home?
It's not a moratorium. It's a temporary ordinance with design standards. So no, it doesn't stop anybody.
Did you get them in standard?
That's the point. Yeah, it does have some enhanced standards.
Okay. 'Cause I haven't read this one. Okay, so what are the extra standards, do you know?
I haven't read it. It's been the same one. I've read it, but I haven't read it recently. As we said, had this thing since
Well, I'll-
middle of next year, so I don't have it off the top of my head. It's the same one. Do we have the outline version of it in here? I used to have a red line one that had all the updates
This
in it.
doesn't have any standards on it, that's why I'm asking.
My question would be to the council to have somebody go over the ordinance with us. Somebody that's knowledgeable, somebody that could zip through it. If Diane or Stephanie or somebody in the office could read through it, each one, because it's hard to read it and understand it. What's new, what's old. If we had somebody just explain it to us, it would sure make it a lot easier for us to decide whether we liked it or not.
Sure, and like I said, I don't have the red line version with the summary of changes on it. I know we've talked about it at length at previous council meetings, and this is just an extension for the one that council has talked about at length before.
I'm sorry, it is so great.
Because I might say the short.
Right, the ordinance with the extension is 2021-03. But it's extending 2021-02.
But this doesn't have the standards.
The ordinance does, no, I think it was the original ordinance has the standards in it. And this is just an extension, a renewal of the temporary ordinance.
So how far out is the planning committee?
Soon, they've got their public hearing, what did I say, they're in the mayor's report, the 19th of their next meeting. They'll have their public hearing, and then it should be able to come, to council shortly after that, and then that'll be the final one.
This doesn't really hold anybody up though, right? for putting in-
It doesn't, no, it doesn't stop any new homes from going in. It does have the somewhat enhanced standards in them that we've requested.
Well, we're still, right now, we're still not giving out new building permits.
Right,
because
yeah,
of the
our-
sewer anyway.
Correct, yeah, our hands are tied. There was kind of a rush towards the end of last year to apply for all of the open sewer connections that the city had available, and those were all given out. And so there are a couple of homes left that still have not yet gone in, but they bought those $4,000 connections last year, and so they're just getting into them now. Any other public input on the extension?
What's the time frame again that you're looking
For the extension. So the extension, assuming council, the next item of business is for council to actually approve the extension. And if that happens, it's a 6-month extension, but within that window, planning committee will finish the final ordinance and then present it to council for their consideration. So we won't have to extend it anymore. Any other public input?
Nothing for me.
I'll ask one more time. Is there any other public input for the interim official control regarding the design and placement of manufactured homes? Hearing none, this public hearing is ended at 7:05 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item number 2, council to consider ordinance 2021-03, renewal of interim official control of manufactured homes. Discussion.
So, we kind of already discussed this and everybody kind of gave what they thought they wanted for them to be, so. What are we doing here? This is just.
It's just a
Formality.
Extending the time.
It's
I'll
just
make a
extending.
motion to approve ordinance 2021-03, renewal of interim official control of manufactured homes.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve ordinance 2021-03, the renewal of the interim official control of manufactured homes. Do we have a second?
I'll
second that.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving ordinance 2021-03, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the next long-awaited thing. Council to consider ordinance 2021-04, the shoreline master plan update. So as you know, this thing has taken forever to get this far. It was grant funded. Planning committee and the planner has been working on this update. The city was actually slightly out of compliance with this. You're supposed to update this thing every 6 years. Is that the 5 years, 6 years? Something like that. And we missed it by a year. But once again, grant funded, so it's all done. So this has gone through SEPA, public hearings, on and on and on. And this is the final product. And how many pages is it, Diane? I don't know if they've got.
It's over 100.
And so
170 something. I decided not to print it.
I hope you found it engaging.
Oh, sure.
But it's one of those requirements for a city, under the Growth Management Act. You get, this is one of those deals, kind of like the comprehensive plan and all this stuff. Shoreline master plan is part of it. Actually, that reminds me, I had said that we missed the update by a year because last year, remember, we approved, this is a little hot tidbit. Last year, we approved the comprehensive plan because in the comprehensive plan, it had a shoreline master plan component. And so Ecology or Commerce or whatever is the governing organization, they said, well, since you approved it there, well, it's okay. And so, but go ahead and really update it now. That's kind of how we got that grace period.
Do we have any kind of a schedule for things like this to happen?
We are. Diane's actually tracking it now, kind of on like a city calendar that she's got for things that have to happen every so many years or every year, kind of like the 6-year transportation improvement plan, where it's due by the end of June every single year.
Right.
So we really should start on it a few months earlier. We have public hearings and announcements. And so she's putting together a running list of all these things we've got to do on a regular basis. It's not a surprise.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-04, shoreline master plan.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve ordinance 2021-04, the shoreline master plan update. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. More discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, number 4, council to consider resolution 15-2021, the park board appointment of Darrell Crago. Mr. Crago has been coming to park board meetings for quite some time as a member of the audience, and he would very much like to fill this vacancy that we've had for a year or so. As you remember, Ms. Hyman had to resign just in the last month or so. They had to move out of town for work-related reasons, and so having another member on the park board is very important. Mr. Crago is excited to be a part of that.
Where is he?
He's at work.
I move to approve resolution 15-2021, Park Board appointment of Daryl Crago.
We have a motion by Mr. Hall to confirm the appointment of Daryl Crago to the Park Board. Do we have a second?
I'll say that.
Second by Mr. Parsons. Further discussion?
Can you give us some information on Mr. Cradle?
Sure. He's a longtime resident of the city. I think he went to school at the old Vader school. He has fond memories of playing there at the school. He's obviously still living here in town. He's been attending the park board meetings.
Nice guy. Nice guy.
Oh, Jason knows him. Good.
I know him as well. He's a great guy.
A lot.
He's been someone who will be a good asset for parks.
Oh, Samantha knows him as well.
Also, Daryl has been wonderful at with our chipping event and any park events that we have been able to have. When he isn't working, he's been one of the people that steps up, and he's there helping out with all of that as well. He's been really, really wonderful.
What's the park board chairman? Person.
It went from chairman to a person.
Well,
Is that a
chairperson.
promotion or a demotion?
Chairperson. Trying to be.
Yeah, I'm a human.
That's not what I meant. Further discussion on confirming Mr. Crago's appointment.
No, thank you. I just thought everybody should, if you know him, a little information about him. I don't know him at all. So.
He's very soft spoken, but he's a super nice guy.
He carries a big stick.
He's a big dude.
Is he the young man that lives down on Canada Street?
Mm-mm.
No.
He's the other one.
The other young man? Be more specific.
There were two young men at the chipping event.
Oh, no. One was, no, it was neither one of those.
Oh, neither one, okay.
It was well, I was gonna say the bearded gentleman.
He is bearded.
He has the big red beard.
But there were more than
Yeah,
one
he's
bearded.
a bearded redhead. You've probably seen him around town. He works at Dollar General.
Yep, he's a manager.
He's super nice. Great tableside manner. He's awesome.
Tableside
Does he wait tables too?
Like you're having a dinner now? Any other discussion, Mr. Crago?
No, I'm satisfied. I just want, all of us should at least know, other than just a name. Something about
All right, hearing no other discussion, all those in favor of confirming Mr. Crago's appointment to the park board, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Lastly, council to review ordinance 2021-05, the Lewis County Water Franchise. The reason why we're reviewing it is it needs to have what's called 2 readings in a public meeting. This will be the first reading. We don't actually read it, but it's just here for council discussion before an exclusive franchise is granted to any particular entity, even though who else is going to take over the water system? It's just one of those things. So this is the first reading. Obviously, we've talked about this before. In our negotiations on the water franchise, we were trying to get the county to assist us with folks that are not paying for sewer payments by turning off the water to the homes, so that would force people to pay. And the county was not receptive to that. I asked them to reconsider that, and they declined. So this water franchise shows that it's everything except that, which is obviously the number one thing we wanted. But it does talk about the receivership. It does make sure that that is in the franchise, so that at some point, if council decides to get the water system back, that is illustrated in there. So there is no doubt about it that we are able to do that.
I don't think it's an if, Joe. I think it's a when, right?
Well, it's an if until the council says do it. So,
Now,
Well, we talked
Thank you,
about
Mr.
it.
Goff.
We talked about it after we did the sewer thing. We were gonna dive into the water. So,
yeah, if you look at the receivership documents that have been put in place and the agreement, the city's meeting all those goals still. And we have a number of years left to start that process. And so I would recommend to council that the big project for next year would be fit into the budget, the cost it's going to take, that we'll have to expend to do that. But I think it'll probably be a drop in the bucket. I think that's a really good analogy. Saying there that compared to how much money we are in the hole with our sewer payments, which is roughly $30,000 right now. So, and going up.
So are you saying we're behind in our payments?
No. I mean, payments to the city from ratepayers.
30,000?
30,000.
Oh, that's because of some of the COVID or no?
Most of that was accumulated before COVID. These are just folks that do not pay because we cannot force them to pay. We don't have a knob to turn, right? I mean, we can take them to court, we can foreclose, we have liens on the properties already. We absolutely have liens on the properties. And just recently a home sold that had a lien on the property. And during the home sale, we got that money back. But do you really want to wait until someone sells the home?
We did get the money back?
We did, yeah. The lien worked, we got the money back.
How much was that?
I don't know, it was a couple $1,000s, something like that. Seems like it's a couple $1,000.
So in the meantime, are we gonna put liens on,
We are still putting liens on the property. The governor's proclamation for the emergency does not keep us from doing that, and so we are still doing that. And that money is still being recorded. We can't force a foreclosure or anything like that right now because of the proclamation, but we can absolutely keep track of it and ask them to pay it back later. One way or another, we're going to.
So have they thought about turning their side sewer off yet? Anybody?
You mean capping their sewer? It's been discussed. It is problematic because, for one, it's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not like a shut-off valve, right? Second, if they continue to use their sewer, it's going to back up into the house, and then now are we liable because we damaged the property?
Well,
And health code and on and on.
and when and if we do take the water, we probably want to rethink turning the water off and what kind of damage it might cause. We might want to review, despite the fact that some people don't like attorney reviews. We want to take a hard look at that before we start turning water off for sewer bills.
Well, I would like to think that as soon as you send a notice to folks and say, you're not going to have any water,
Right.
come to City Hall and start working on a payment plan. That would be a very short discussion.
But we must really be diligent on how the procedure to protect from liability.
Right, there's a right way and a wrong way.
Yeah. I'm sure the county deals with that issue.
This is just the review.
This is to review. It's called the first reading. We just discussed it. It's on the agenda.
And our attorney was gone.
Not all.
Oh, yeah. And our attorney, it went from our attorney to
Yeah,
Lewis County and back again, which Donna highlighted in the attorney's fees were up to roughly $3,000. But it's in the franchise agreement that the county will pay those attorneys' costs to create the franchise, or update the franchise agreement. So. Any other discussion on this particular water franchise ordinance? Not, it'll probably come to you at the next council meeting for approval.
So we have December 16th, 2023 is our.
And we have to start the process by then. It does not have to be finished by then. So there's a letter, you just send a letter and it starts.
The water system.
think we need to start.
The water system is run by the county.
Any other discussion on the water franchise?
Well, I have a question. According to Gary Cooper, the city planner, he said that it's quite an ordeal to get the water back. We have to get a committee. We have to prove to the state that we can run it. It's quite an ordeal and not something we can do in a year. I think that we should move forward with starting something right now, getting it back.
Yeah, and you're
Thanks.
correct. It is a very lengthy thing, Mr. Goff. And you're right, there has to be a committee and we have to have the business plan and we have to have be ready to get employees in order that the certified from the water system. And then, part of being able to, well, it wasn't necessarily in the receivership agreement. How does a city prove itself that it can run a utility? A great example is the sewer upgrade, right? We're able to negotiate, national requirements, state requirements, grant funding, on and on and on, and have a successful project and run the utility effectively, right? This is how we prove, one of the ways we prove that we can do this. We're doing it. I mean, it's happening.
And
It wasn't that we couldn't run our water department in the past, it was just that it was just so dysfunctional. Water. Everything.
we have till December 16th, 2023 to make the request,
Correct.
but that doesn't mean we get it right away.
Right. It's
There's
like
time
Mr. Goff
involved,
was,
right?
right? Like Mr. Goff was highlighting, it's about a year. I mean, if we're on the ball, it's going to be about a year to get
We can request
to get that done.
on the December 16th, the last day. It's gonna be another year before it happens.
If we're going to do it, we shouldn't wait that long.
No, I realize that, but I'm just as an example.
You're right. Ms. Costello.
Did the county not state that they had like $1 million worth of infrastructure still to do?
County isn't sitting on their butts just doing nothing. All this infrastructure grant money that's going on, they've been applying for that, getting that, they're being proactive. They want to run new water lines to the unused right of way in anticipation of new development. Obviously, they've got the water tower up there. And so they're being thoughtful and proactive and they're doing a great job running the water system. They really are.
But it's their goal to do all of the infrastructure before they hand it over to Vader?
Well, there is no agreement. They're just running it as if it's theirs. There's no.
They didn't want to have to hand it back to Vader.
Well,
Yeah, they do. I talked to Eric. He does want to hand it back. He doesn't want it. It's a loss leader for them. And
Loss
he was
leader?
very, yeah, that's what he called it. He said it's a loss leader. We're losing money on it because of all the money they have to put into it. So they do want to give it back.
So and there's no active, we're asking if there's any type of active communication between us and the county at this point or at any point in recent times about getting the system back or anything like that. There isn't. I mean, if there's active projects, we would inherit those. But there's no.
Part of our infrastructure, the worth of the town.
It would just migrate to us. Whatever they're working on, it would be then on us to continue it. Did I answer your question?
Kind of scary because there was a water break at my house and I had 2 men, a track hoe, a dump truck, and a pumper truck. I'm just curious how we would ever come up with those types of equipment to deal with that kind of thing.
Right, and so part of that plan would be to have those contingencies ready to go, right? So if there's a water break, what do? Right, well, you have these companies already on tap and ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would pick up the phone and say, come out here now.
Oh, okay, so we're going to hire it.
Right, and so we would not have a crew, right? We would have to hire it out and pay for emergencies on the spot, similar to what we do now with the wastewater plant, right? With the sewer system. If there's a backup, like there was on D Street like a couple of years ago, we call a company, they come out and they fix it and they send us a bill.
Well, what if what if they can't get out there right away? I mean,
Let's,
these people just don't sit around and wait for Vader to call them.
that would be why they're on, that would be the agreement. right?
That would be
24
part of the
hours.
contract. If they don't, they have breached the contract.
It would be all in the plans that would have to be worked out over the course of a year.
We can't solve it today.
We can't solve it today. I'll put you in charge of the committee.
Yeah.
Further discussion on the water franchise. Okay. Hearing no more discussion on the water franchise. Before we go to public comment, we have the Honorable Gary Stanford here from the county. I believe that you're officially, I think officially you are honorable, whether you like it or not.
And I, the water.
You should that title for life.
Really, the only thing I have, we met with the stakeholders group yesterday, and that was, you guys got the invite. I know that we invited cities, and I know everyone's crazy busy.
And we attended via Zoom.
So it was really, I thought it went well. And it's probably the first time that, I'm not saying we're all rowing the same direction, but at least we're all in the boat together. And you talk about infrastructure and things like that. So, some of the things we're doing, and Richard's doing a really good job trying to, the EDC director, trying to access, some of the some of these projects require some match, but then we have those funds available, if we pull them together. And again, he's got a connection with legislators. So there'll be a great opportunity there to really get some of these projects done. GFI, they put an overlay. You're going to be able to see it, as you've probably heard yesterday, but you'll be able to get on the EDC website and you'll see every project in Lewis County that's going on, small or big. So that way we can kind of keep track of them. Everyone can keep track of them. And I think, Vaders, you guys got projects going on. So, and it doesn't matter how big or how small, we just want to be able to, because there's maybe some other funding for smaller projects we don't know about. So we'll work as hard as we can on that. And I think it really is, I think it's a real positive thing for our county. Because it really includes everyone. So more to come on that. I know they're working on the overlays right now. So the website's not up and running yet. I think you can see it, but the EDC is kind of controlling right now until we get all the information on. And you'll be able to click on that project and you'll see exactly what that project's about. It'll give you the cost of it. It'll give you, the details of what goes into those projects, whether it's a single project, whether, who knows what it was. So lots of good information, and I think that will help. And I know one of the challenges for it's a challenge for the county too. So smaller cities is sometimes it's really tough to come up with the expertise. And I know that I've always preached making sure that we're helping all the small cities in the county to do whatever we can to support them. So I think it's a great idea. And, with all the new construction coming in, and I believe I heard what was 700 projects currently going on. Of course, those are bigger ones, small ones, currently in this county. Could be a culvert, could be, so there's a lot of information. So I think it'd be a really cool thing because it's not like you're going to have to sit there and study it. Hey, you want to see what's going on in Packwood? We want to see what's going on in Toledo, Vader, whatever it is. You'll be able to click on that. But part of that is making sure that everyone gets that information to the EDC so we can get it embedded on the overlays. So anyway, so it was really good though. Really some good stuff there. And we had yesterday, I think we had Representative Walsh and I know that Peter was there, Peter Obarno. I don't know who else was. Ed wasn't there. So he had another engagement, otherwise he'd have been there too. So cool stuff. So, and if you have any questions, contact the EDC and Richard or Eric or Mary Ann will give you any information you need. So
yeah, they've been always quick to respond whenever I've try to touch
Yeah,
base with them.
They're awesome. So, anyway, so that's about all I have. Lots of other stuff. Boring.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
All right, public comment.
Okay, yes.
Cindy Radcliffe, 1027th Street. I'm questioning whether this city's government is all for transparency. In the last few months, I've been trying to get documents and agendas and attachments to agendas, and it seems like I don't get the agenda until late in the day before. The attachments aren't on the website. I gotta beat somebody with a stick to get a hold of them. And you want us to be informed, put the information out there and put it out there so we have enough time to look at it and read it, and we're not flipping through these papers in the meeting trying to figure out what you people are up to. You know, so if you want transparency, you want your citizenry, the people that you all represent, put the information out there in a timely fashion. I shouldn't have to keep clicking on and clicking on and clicking on 24 hours before a meeting to know what you're going to pass. And a month ago, I just happened to come to a meeting, and it happened to be something that affected me personally and our property, and I wouldn't even know what you people were up to if I hadn't just happened to be here. It sounded like you were gonna pass it, and I wouldn't have known until after the fact. And that's not the way we wanna run any kind of government. We wanna be able to trust that you are gonna talk to us and tell us what you've got going on, and it's not gonna be one of these, oh, you didn't go to the meeting? Oh, gee, that's a shame. Oh, now you're just out. So if we could probably or possibly, and I think it was you, were you the mayor or was that other guy? Smith. Well, you know.
He was doing it for a while.
Right. That said, we'll have that agenda out by Monday, you know, so we'll have it available.
I've never made that promise.
Oh, okay, with the other guy. We'll have it out by Monday so we can know, so people can know what's coming up and they can at least, if they even want to attend. So that would be nice. 2 days. I'm not asking for the moon here, just maybe a couple of days early. And the attachments. I was gonna save for the time of printing them out and printing them out myself and actually read them instead of on my phone trying to figure out what they are. But I couldn't find a couple of them. They weren't on this document 4. So that's when I tried to find. No, there was one attachment for the shoreline master plan, and none of the attachments were, you know, where you go to the city council and then the agenda and then the attachments to the agenda. There was one attached. And so anyway, that would just be nice if you could maybe have some kind of transparency a little bit earlier than 5 o'clock on Thursday. The other thing is the website. It's difficult to maneuver through. It's outdated. I know I've said this before. I've said that, you know, for years. I've been saying, I don't know who does it, who's supposed to do it, but could we take off the stuff that's no longer like the meetings from 2020? Already happened, don't need to be on there, and maybe make it a little bit smaller, a little easier, you know, the front page to be a little bit better. So when people go there, yeah, you can still have your links to other pages, but it's pages, that front page is pages long, and the bottom half, and I know she's busy, I understand that.
Do you look at it on a computer or do you look at it on your phone?
On computer.
Okay.
You know, but the bottom parts of that are all from 2020, you know, the beginning of this year, and you know, we have an extra human in there now, so maybe she can do that sort of thing. And then listen to us. It just feels like sometimes you guys don't listen to us. And this is gonna irritate the hell out of Mike, but the last meeting, him and Randy don't even come back to listen to public comments. I don't care if you don't like what we're saying. You at least have the decency to come back and listen to us and face us.
Oh, this was after the variance. They had to leave because of.
During the variance, but they could have come back. The door works both ways. So that.
And I would want-
Oh, my time. Okay, you can listen on the phone, but sometimes I want to see your face because you make faces at me all the time. And sometimes I want to look in the eye and see if you're actually listening. You know, I got after Joe one time because he was making notes or something. He was scribbling, nothing was drawing. And I said, pay attention. Sometimes I want to know that you're paying attention to us. And the reason I don't think you are is because 3 years ago, I told you that you needed to either raise rates on your fee schedule or you need to get a less expensive building inspector. And Smith almost shook his head until it fell off. Oh, no, that's not true. We're not losing money on it. No, that's not happening. We are losing money. And Joe Shy at some point looked at it. We're losing money on every single permit. I said that 3 years ago. Apparently, somebody had an aha moment and actually said, oh, we're losing money on every one. You don't listen. You don't listen to the people that come up here and say these things. You act like we're a pack of fools. So listen to the people that you represent. Please update the website. It just drives me nuts. It just drives me nuts.
Can I speak to that?
Oh, sure.
I was gonna speak to that.
You were mentioning that the attachments were not there, but everything doesn't go in where it says, council packet. The resolutions are under resolutions, the ordinances are under ordinances, and the minutes are under minutes. All of that is posted.
Where do you think that someone is gonna look for the packet for tonight's gonna look? They're gonna look under the packet. And in the past, she has attached them. It's not like she never does it, but she has attached them to that packet. And so when I look at the agenda, anything that I care about, okay, yeah. I look down, right below it, it says packet, council packet. So I look to see those documents. I don't go searching through it because sometimes I don't know what the title is. And I know that she does eventually get to that. And again, it's, you know, everybody's busy. But those documents, because they're so convoluted and you gotta read them and read them again, it just would be nice to have them in that council packet. I could print them out too, and then you could stop having to do these packets.
But I don't agree with you because it's very clear. It says ordinance.
Right, but why put it in the packet?
Well, they're filed. Side.
So I think the confusion is that
What's the
that
purpose
if
of the packet?
there's the agenda folder,
Right.
the resolution folder,
Right.
and the ordinance folder, and they're not all linked together into one folder where you can find them in one spot. I think
So
that's what you're
council
talking about.
packet, it used to be all.
But they're not updated.
Documents, not resolutions or ordinances. That's what we put.
So when you say council.
Not
packet,
updated.
when you say the council packet, you come here and you get this packet, it's not under the council packet. And
Right.
that's where most humans are gonna look.
Right, yeah, it is being done differently, where instead of having a packet where it's duplicated on the website, where there's an ordinance in the packet section and the ordinance in the ordinance section, it's just in the ordinance section.
How about a link then? So you don't have to do it twice, it's a link to wherever it goes. Because, you know, you start getting around in the internet and you get lost. And pretty soon you're looking at porn on, you know, in China or something. So just put it all, or a link, well, not porn, something else, you know, but put it, a link there, because that's where people
I'm
are
making
gonna
a
look.
face at you now.
Yes, you can make a face. So that was something that would have been easier for me to be able to.
There's none of those links on the city website.
Wow. So.
Or the
that-
YouTube video of last meeting. No YouTube video of last meeting.
That is correct, I have not posted that.
And that was the other thing. I went and looked at some of the things that were from other meetings to see if I could find something that was going to be talked about tonight, and I couldn't find it either. And it's probably just because I don't really know how you've organized it. So it's not user friendly. And the majority of people out there are just like me, sad to say.
Well, good news, don't get used to it, because as of September 1st, so our website is hosted through Google, it's a Google Sites website, and Google is changing the formatting of websites, and so that we need to migrate our website over to Google's new version by September 1st. And they've got this neat convert button where you just press convert and then it converts your website over. And when we press that button, it just totally scrambles the website and we no longer have a website. So between now and September 1st, we need to develop an entirely new website. So
So that will be updated then. Whatever the new one is,
it's going to be different.
it's going to be different and not going to work the same.
We haven't made it
It's
yet.
gonna be totally different.
We haven't made it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, then hold that thought and I'll complain later.
Okay. That's why I said don't get used to the current one.
Well, as far as the old items being on there is a
That's time.
retention
we'll
of
never get back.
records
Thank you.
that have to be out there.
That's time we'll never get back. Thank you.
Excuse me, Randy, what was that?
Retention of record law. You can't just delete the old information.
You don't have to delete it.
We're
But
not talking about deleting.
I would probably move it around on there.
We move it around.
Well, it was meetings that were coming up. It says, oh, come to this meeting
Mhm.
3 months ago. You know, this meeting's coming up. If you're interested, come see us.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Don't we have a 3-minute click up there?
I haven't been tracking it. I love listening to these people.
Sorry, you live on D
My name is Judy Costello, and I live at 706 B Street. And I would like to invite all of you to the citywide yard sale on August the 7th. And if you haven't signed up, maybe you don't want to be on the map, just throw something in your front yard. Currently, I have 27 people, and we still have 2 weeks before the sale. So I think it's going to be a really, really big deal. And I don't know if Kelly's still on there. But the park board, it's a great opportunity for them. It's a great opportunity for the jail. I don't know if there's anybody that can go down and do the history books for the jail, but it's a great opportunity to get all of that stuff out there to all of these people that come to town.
And I think the Lions Club was talking about having,
They're going to do a big thing on Carol's Lot. I
yeah,
didn't know
a
what we're
fundraiser
gonna
of some
have.
kind too. So there's going to be other things going on
Okay, I didn't know if
in
they were.
conjunction with your yard sale event. So yeah,
Right,
it'd be
I didn't know what that was.
be a big to do.
Okay, all right. And then I'd like to announce that one of our community members, as of right now, is having a heart attack in Longview, and that is Linda Newton. So keep her in your thoughts.
She was just here 2 weeks ago.
You said it's August 7th.
Yes, 8 to 5. And I tell everybody question mark because a lot of people usually think it's hard. They'll start shutting down at 2 or something. Linda, the hospital hour? Yes, she is.
Okay, thank you for that. And that's the end of, that was only the two for public comment. Okay, elected official comment. Any elected officials have anything that they'd like to say to wrap this up?
And you have a question?
I have a question.
Oh. Who?
I was waiting for everybody else to get done.
Okay, who is this?
Chris Landis.
Chris Landis.
Yes.
Go ahead, Landis.
So when is the city's contract with our current garbage up? Because I think that a more reputable company might be needed. Like, for instance, somebody that doesn't bill us based on whether he likes us or not. And, you know, somebody who doesn't fluctuate in their bills and is actually capable of keeping track of when they've received payment and when they haven't.
I believe it's next year his contract is up. So at the end of 2022, is that correct? This year? That was next year. It's coming up, Mr. Landis. And what you're saying has been said, I've heard from a variety of folks. So you're not alone.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was definitely on public record that he's doing some pretty shady stuff. I don't have any proof of some of the rumors, but I've heard that he's been dumping in Cowlitz County on a few occasions, which us being in Lewis County, and if he's dumping in Cowlitz County, that's fairly legal considering Cowlitz charges a lower rate and he's charging us Lewis County rates.
Well, I know that he does pick up Ryderwood's trash as well, which is in Cowlitz County. And so,
yeah.
If he, I don't know, I don't know what his business.
He would have to dump only their trash there. Yeah. He can't pick up ours and then go dump ours with their trash. And I mean, from a business standpoint, if I was running a small business, that's a lot of fuel just to go and pick up the small amount that's in one town and then travel all the way there and
the landfill was open up to all counties to use. It just has a higher rate for a non-county.
All right, Mr. Landis, thank you very much. Do you have any other input for that?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Everyone heard you loud and clear.
If there's a moment, I would like to add a comment. This is Kelly Shy. I would like to add a comment to Judy real quick, if that's okay.
Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Judy, we are actually, the park board is actually going to be working with the Lions Club with the barbecue.
Are we having barbecue or are we having hot dogs?
We're gonna have, yeah, so Lions had a meeting today, a special meeting today, and we went ahead and decided, I think Kathy is gonna be reaching out to you here soon. And she said, we're going to go ahead and have a grill and we're going to have hot dogs and water and soda and chips available as well.
Thank you. That's great for advertising because then I.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We're really excited about all of that too. So Lions, for the grill part of it, Lions and Parks are working together with it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I think when you
Yeah,
said
no,
barbecue,
thank you.
it was very excited in your ribs.
Sorry, no ribs, just
On
hot
that note,
dogs.
I would suggest boiling the hot dogs because it's easier.
Yeah.
We got
They
a
don't die, they don't die on the grill.
you got a cooking tip from Mr. Daly there on hot dogs.
Well, there's other people in charge of that, the cooking portion of it, that you can run that by. I think you know who to talk to there.
Well,
All right.
we need a,
I will suggest it to the right person.
maybe you can be the hot dog champion there.
We know that you could do hot dogs great, Mr. Daly.
They work all Saturday.
All right, so we were at elected official comment. Further elected official comment.
I have a comment.
Go for it.
So, there was a birthday party for a gentleman that used to live in this town, and honestly, I can't think of his name right now. It's embarrassing. But anyway, there was a big gathering out at McMurphy Park, and the people out there were just raving about the way the park looked and how neat and beautiful and well kept it was. And so that happened to be Mr. Dave Holland because he was at that birthday party. Yeah. So, and the whole group was there, and those people used to practically own Vader. They were all over the place, council members, mayors, whatever. Wish I could remember their name. Anyway, I thought we should reward John for that because he does a beautiful job here in town, and I think he deserves to have a helper, full-time, part-time. I don't know how he gets done what he does get do on his own here, but he's the one. We've hired a third person in the office,
We just
and
hired him.
I'm not done yet, Jason. So we've hired the third person in the office. And, you know, I still am getting some of my stuff at 7 o'clock at night on Thursday night. Barely get the minutes. You know, I read the minutes should be posted and done within a day or two after the council meeting, so it's readily available to the public to have. But you barely get them the day before the meeting, and I don't understand that. Not being bad to you, Diane, but I think things could be done a little bit better. You know, and that website is an embarrassment to this community. You know, there's 3 people working in there now, and I wish somebody, I don't know if you assign somebody to do it, but to keep it updated and keep all that old information off of there. I mean, you know, people think we're a joke anyway, and that just makes us look worse. So I don't know if maybe Jackie could take charge of that. I don't know what your working situation is, but.
I don't know either, but where the new website is going to be so much better.
Okay, but I mean, could you just take like that year-old stuff down? That's like, geez. You know, if people log on to our site and they look at that, you know, what must they think of like?
What is so old? I'm looking at it. I'm trying to figure
If you scroll down a little bit, there are some meetings that I thought, oh, wait, that was March. And then there was something about in 2020, and I'm like, well, why is that?
Didn't we just hire a part-time employee for John for the summer?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, for the summer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I
hoping to
see.
carry on after.
I see.
How many
We
hours
already talked
though,
about
a
it.
week? What?
I don't know, he needs.
Couple hours or a couple of days a week? That, there's too much work in this community that needs to be done. And John just can't do it all the time.
Got the website behind you, Diane. Freak out.
So burn restrictions should be updated because
Right.
now it's no burn at all.
So we've got the burn ban on there.
No, that's wrong. That's the old one. Now it's no burning at all. And that says you can have a park.
Okay, so there's been an update recently. We can get that on there.
Yeah, and then, the June 25th,
The cooling centers?
yeah, well, no, it was about the hot weather coming on July, whatever day that was, it's down for
Not up there, okay. So the
And-
cooling centers, where to go for the cooling centers.
So that's probably not at this point.
I didn't take that down because there's the potential of having hot weather again.
Well, there's
So-
a potential on Nichols and White too, but that's probably.
And then we've got the wastewater plants. We have to have this on there. It's part of the federal requirements. So we have to have that on there.
For chips for trails, that's old.
Yeah, this is old. We could take this down.
It's just a little bit of cleanup, because I
I
had
mean,
to.
it's not that
running
long.
news feed, and so you just build from the top, you just keep updating the top.
So
Well, maybe look at the
Yeah,
bottom once in a while.
this could probably come off. There's a couple things that are outdated that have happened in the last 30 days that could come off. So
See that CARES thing? I think it's time for that to go.
okay.
I mean,
It's just a refresh, maybe. Maybe that's the word, a refresh.
Right, so the older things are on the bottom down here, and then the newer things are on the top. So, okay. I think we beat that to enough. So I think we get the point. It's not horrible. It's not- I wouldn't say it's an embarrassment to the
and
community.
it is an embarrassment
I mean-
because it's consistent. It's not like it happens once in a while, it's consistent.
We'll try to make one
And
that's,
I've seen it worse than that.
what's the opposite of an embarrassment? The pride of the community. We'll see what we can do.
Let's do that. A little community pride.
Judy,
Are you gonna give John
Attaboy, lunch.
Yes,
dinner,
and he should
lunch every
get,
day at the little crane.
he
I
should,
mean,
absolutely. And
Maybe
he
at least-
should get a raise
maybe
and
at
he should get a
least-
helper full time. If we can hire a third party in that office and I still can't get minutes on time and I still can't get my agenda till God knows when, and one of these is dated June the 18th, I could have had this information earlier from Gary Cooper, whatever that is.
well, as.
We don't get it, and it's a little disconcerting if you want to try to take the time to read this stuff and understand a little bit. You know, I can't read 16 pages sitting up here in 2 minutes. I'm not good at that.
Well, as luck would have, when it comes to John, his annual anniversary review is due this month here in July, and I'm meaning to get to him and get that done, and all that feedback will come back to him. So
Good, I haven't had a chance to see him to tell him
he's too busy
that
working.
those people were. Well, you can't catch him, once in a while you catch him over there at the shop, but
Okay,
yeah, he really does.
I'll
a
make sure that
wonderful job.
that input gets to him.
He does.
And, you know, we can do whatever you want, when you give us a dollar figure for John, we'll gift cards, whatever.
Gift cards.
I don't know, whatever.
Oh,
he wants, that's one thing.
Well, I didn't mean that, but it sounds like a good idea.
Let's not get crazy with gift cards. Safeway rewards points or
So,
something.
I mean.
Give us some air miles for us.
Tell me how much you want.
Oh, I have no idea. Come on, you guys.
A lunch at the little.
Oh.
Yeah.
Before we start negotiating employee payroll here during the elected official comment,
She's talking about an incentive for doing something great.
No, I'm just saying that he deserves kudos for that, some recognition for what he does, because he is the star of this community as far as I'm concerned. He
get a
really
shirt
is.
that says that will go to his head. So,
Well,
okay,
I have
well,
a bigger hat.
$20 maybe.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think Jason should buy him lunch.
free bacon at least.
I just got that permission.
Diane's looking for an official,
Okay.
an official okay from council.
Well, should we just, okay, we can buy him lunch at the Little Crane if you want to. Is that agreeable to everybody? What kind of a dollar amount? What's the cheapest thing you have?
So just go with $20. That way we don't have to be cheap.
Attaboy, attaboy. Go get yourself an ice cream cone.
Grilled cheese sandwich coming right after.
Well, he should get top of the.
All right,
At least.
we'll keep it to a reasonable amount. Thank you, council. Further elected official comment. Okay.
I'm done.
Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned at 7:55 PM. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for recognizing John.
Hancock,
Oh, the handcuffs?
Hancock.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, he's passed away, but they still, the family all comes together every